And we are officially live here, back on the scene. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome for a very special Tuesday's edition of Transformation Greatness, along with SBN, the Small Business Network podcast. This is episode 298, guys, and we are 2 episodes away from 300. Man, I tell you, this is definitely a true blessing. And I just wanted to say for everyone that contributed as far as to the podcast, I appreciate each and every single last one of you, from our hosts, even on way down as far as to our guests. Without you guys, none of this wouldn't be possible. And I truly and sincerely mean that as well. And tonight, guys, we got someone that's very, very special. This young lady here, she does a multitude of a lot of things. She has a business, she has a brand, she is a comedian. I even heard that she's extremely funny. So we're going to find out tonight, folks. And I want to say, too, on behalf of Game Changer Productions and Camille Thomas Alexander for hooking us up here, definitely appreciate you. We have here the one and only Miss Monique Latisse. I hope I'm saying her last name correctly in the house. Welcome to the
Yes.
show.
Hey, how are you?
I'm doing fantastic, very, very fantastic. And
Good.
so I'm just very excited just to see as far as on how the way this podcast goes, because I remember when Camille, she was telling me about you, and when I had a chance to see your bio on your profile, I was like, man, I mean, like, she is crushing it. She's doing like
Mhm.
a lot of great things out here in this space. And that's what I'm talking about. And those are people that I love to invite on the show, because it's all about bringing value on here. And so
Absolutely.
I'm very excited to really get into this. But before we do, for all those that's tuning in live, just want to say hello. If you're catching this live, put in hashtag live. Let us know exactly where you're tuning in from, and if you should happen to catch this on a replay, because I get it. It's a Tuesday. You're doing other stuff. But guess what? No excuses. Put in hashtag replay. Let us know where you're tuning in from. And also let us know if you get any type of value and what were some of your key takeaways. So with that being said, for the listening audience, Miss Latisse, if you can just tell the audience a little bit more of who you are and a little bit and more of what you do, ma'am. Take it away.
Okay, Monique Latisse, born and raised in Paterson, New Jersey. Go Paterson! Some amazing, great things come out of Paterson, New Jersey, and I'm so proud to be born in raised in the city like Paterson, New Jersey. Because when I was coming up, there was music was everything, entertainment was everything. So it feels so good to be a part of that legacy that I grew up on. Um, and I'm a grandmother. I'm a mother of three. I'm a grandmother of two, with one on the way. But don't tell them I told you that. And I'm a full time comedian. I've been doing comedy for 14 years. I just became a full time comedian 2 years ago. And it's definitely a different muscle, but I absolutely love what I do. I'm the former owner of my own comedy club. I opened up my own comedy club during the pandemic, 6 weeks during the pandemic. I had no idea that the pandemic was coming. My business was open 6 weeks, and then the pandemic came, and I had to shut down. But then I was able to reopen because we were in the mall, and I was able to house a lot of entertainment for the city of Paterson during the pandemic. And then a year later, I ended up catching COVID, and I just decided that that 1 year was enough. Like, I had no idea that the pandemic was coming. God used me to be able to house a lot of events that people weren't able to have in other places due to the pandemic. So I think I did what I was supposed to do. I started my business, Monique Latisse Entertainment, a few years ago as well. And under that business, I do consulting, I do teaching, I teach comedy and improv. I'm also a mentor. I teach people how to follow their dreams. And I have a program called Young Stars Rock. And that's a program that I started in the city of Paterson in 2011. And that organization is for children who people may not necessarily see their gifts right away. So I really wanted to encourage children, even if they weren't singers, dancers, performers. I wanted to encourage children to come and spend 2 weeks with me. And by the time that the 2 weeks was up, they would know whether they want to go into entertainment or not. Because I kind of feel like with myself, I didn't know comedy was my calling until I was in my 30s, like late 30s. I was a dancer I used to love to rap, and I was always on punishment. Didn't do well in school. So my mother didn't know at the time to nurture that gift because I was supposed to have been concentrating on my schoolwork. But I was writing rhymes, I was MCing, and I should have been doing my work so that I could get opportunities to get out and maybe connect with other people. But I was in my room dreaming of being a star one day. I wanted to be a rapper, and here I am at 51, living out my childhood dream as an entertainer. Look at God. Look at God. That's it in a nutshell.
Amen. 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 It just proves, Monique, is that it doesn't matter on when you start, right? You can have some people that may say, well, I'm too old and, maybe in my younger years I could have did something like that, but man, I'm too old. I got too much going on. You are the prime example of it doesn't matter as far as at what age, right? That doesn't matter how you start. It all pretty much predicates on how you finish
Absolutely.
because when you're a late bloomer, and this is something too, in which I had to realize as well, when you're a late bloomer, in God's eyes, you're right on time. But
Amen.
people have a tendency of saying, you should have did that in your prime years. I'm like, hold
Yeah.
up, wait a minute. I'm still in my prime years. Hold up
Let me
now.
tell you something. All my kids are grown. All my kids are grown and doing their thing. My son actually he did some prison time. So I went through a lot of turmoil in my life. So I am absolutely in my prime season. I feel like I'm in my college years. Like I'm doing
Mm,
things that I dreamt about doing when I was in high school and raising my kids. Like I am living my best life. And not that I'm not this is gonna sound crazy, but it depends on the way you look at it, right? To some people may look at my career like, oh my God, you're doing so much, you're doing this. Even if I'm doing a bare minimum, I'm doing what I love.
exactly.
With that being said, I love the season that I'm in. Love the season that I'm in.
Excellent. I have so many questions. I mean, like, man, and we're going to get into that, but I do want to acknowledge our audience first. So we have here Game Changer Productions, herself, Camille Thomas Alexander in the house. We have here Mrs. Latanya Davis in the house, and we also have Trinity as well. I love this too. We have Camille that says, love it. And Trinity said, you are never too old or young. It's God's timing. And she said she is proud of you,
Oh,
Monique.
thank you. Thank you so much. Thank
That is
you.
so beautiful.
Yeah.
I'm curious, right? Okay, so in terms of comedy, who was like your people that you were inspired by, right? Because all of us, we all have people in which that, we model and we like. For me, because I'm a speaker, excuse me, because I'm a speaker, I love like Les Brown. Everybody knows I love Les Brown. That is
Yeah.
like my solid mentor. That's my dream to meet Les Brown. You can't say nothing wrong about Les Brown around me. Like I just love Les Brown.
Yeah.
So for yourself, who were the people that you looked up to?
So if I can be honest, I really didn't know much about comedy when I got into comedy. I mean, I watched Def Comedy Jam, and I was the type of person I picked different. I like different things from different people. I like the little.
Okay.
I loved. People say that Eddie Murphy is one of the greatest, but I really liked the fact that he transitioned into acting. Delirious was good. I never really saw too much of his stand up, so I can't really say he's the GOAT in stand up because I didn't see too much of his stand up. But I loved him as an entertainer. There's some people that inspire me that's not even known. So for me, um, there's bits and pieces that I like. I loved Carol Burnett, right? So if we're talking about people that are known, I love Carol Burnett. Lunel is someone that I look up to. Um, Monique is someone that I admire, that she was coming up in the comedy game. And as an actress, she's an amazing, phenomenal actress. Um, there's so many comedians that, haven't even reached their plateau yet that I love. I love the antics of Cat Williams. I love the antics of Dave Chappelle. I love the antics of I love some more. Some more is one of my favorite comedians, and she's from Jersey. She's a Jersey girl. She's very classy. I love the way she dressed. See, for me, it's not always just about going on stage and telling a joke. I look at the whole package. Bill Bellamy's another one from Jersey. Um, he's the one that really, really inspired me to package myself. Bill Bellamy from New Jersey. When you on stage, if you look good, you feel good. So I don't play. When I'm on stage, I don't play with my wardrobe at all. So, and he inspired, he's one of my inspirations as far as fashion is concerned, and presenting yourself on stage and not just, rolling out the bed, jumping on stage and just running your mouth. You're representing yourself. So absolutely.
You know what? I'm glad you mentioned that because I was actually going to ask you that question. So when it comes to comedy, what are some of the things that a person can learn about comedy if they want to get into it? Like some of the ins and outs, some of the tips, some of the do's and don'ts about comedy. Because as someone that's from the audience, we're there obviously, we're having a great time, we're being entertained, but we don't know everything that goes on as far as we're becoming a great comedian. Is it I mean, obviously, it's not as simple as just waking up and telling some good jokes, right? And you rocking the whole crowd. There's a science to comedy. So, can you dive into that more so, based upon your experience on what you learned?
And that's a great question, because that's actually what I'm going to be teaching coming up at Passaic Community College. I'm going to be teaching a class on comedy and improv. So, first of all, I always tell people you have to decide, most people get into comedy because they think that they're funny, right? I'm funny, I'm funny, I'm funny. And so I really would say, well, what makes you want to be a comedian, right? That's the first thing I would say, is find out and understand your story and why you want to be a comedian. Because being a comedian is telling your story, it's your journey. Whether you want to falsify your story, whether you want to paint your story, whether you want to have a truthful story, whether you want to make up a story, um, comedy is your journey and it's your story. So for me, I got into comedy really because I was asking God to show me what my purpose was. So comedy came to me, right? It just like fell in my lap. And I had to look back and to say, okay, if God wants me to do comedy, what are some of the things I do naturally that I can possibly bring to the stage? So I always love people. I have always been I wasn't a popular girl in school, but I've always enjoyed people watching and finding out how people think and watching people. And I was very fascinated by people. So when I got the opportunity to get on stage, that's what I tapped in. Now, some people tap into comedy because they're great writers. I wasn't a great writer. So I didn't get into comedy being a great writer, but some people can write. So if that's your thing, I would encourage that person to write as much as possible. Um, Find an open mic. People tell me all the time, I want to do comedy at least once in my life. I want to give it a try. There's people that do all kind of walks of life, doctors, lawyers, and they end up doing comedy because it's a place where you can honestly tell your truth. So I would say find open mics. I Googled some places on the internet. I found a place in Bloomfield, New Jersey. I walked in one day, and that was the first time ever that I touched the microphone. And to be honest with you, comedy is one of the scariest things that I've ever wanted to do, because there was a lot of things in my life that I was embarrassed of. I'm gonna give you a clear example. I was a stutterer, didn't do good in school. I had really bad acne growing up. So now I got to get on stage because God is drawing me to this, right? So now I'm on stage, and everything that I was insecure about my whole life is on Front Street now, right? So I was like, God, you are going to have to help me with this. You are going to have to give me the strength to face my fears and laugh about my fears. And that was very, very challenging. I'm going to be honest with you. It's probably one of the most challenging things as a comic is to, you come with all of this baggage. I mean, I had went through a divorce. I was having so much trouble in school with my son, and I'm on stage telling jokes. I just for a while, it was like almost like, God, are you setting me up? Like, what's the setup? So I would tell anybody with anything when you're asking God to show you what your purpose is, you gotta be willing to be uncomfortable. You gotta, there's a level of uncomfortableness that you gotta be willing to accept. Then you say to yourself, what can I do that I love to do that I would do with my eyes closed? Nobody has to pay me. Like, I'm a talker. I've been talking since I was born. So I had to learn how to write jokes. I had to learn how to stay on stage even while I felt uncomfortable. So my biggest giveaway to stand up is you have to be willing to be exposed. And in order to be exposed, you got to understand your assignment. And that's how I got here.
Wow, that was powerful. Ladies and gentlemen, if you're just tuning in, welcome here to a very powerful and exclusive interview episode of Transformation Greatness along with SBN, the Small Business Network podcast. We have here comedian and entrepreneur extraordinaire Monique Latisse, and she is dropping some serious knowledge, guys. Like, I'm just sitting here just listening, and I'm like, wow, like, man. And I love as far as on what you said too, because I believe, Monique, those same principles that you mentioned in terms of comedy is even
Mhm.
towards business as well in speaking. Do you agree with
Yes,
that?
absolutely. I left my job 2 years ago to do comedy full time. And I'm gonna tell you right now, if someone came to me and they says I want to be an entrepreneur, I would tell them one thing: Are you lazy? Because if you lazy, entrepreneurship is not for you. If you and it's okay. Here's the thing: when I say that, I don't mean I'm not trying to put anyone down or make anyone feel bad. But if you don't have a beast inside of you, a get up and go, a hunger, entrepreneurship is not for you. I've done business with people just randomly, right? People will post, hey, I make flyers, or I make posters or business cards, or I do this. And then when you reach out to them, they don't get back to you. They're not answering your call. You got to figure out how you're going to pick up the product. Things are not clear. So I say, if you're gonna say that you want to be an entrepreneur, you have to have some skills that your gift that can't teach you. Your gift doesn't teach you these skills. Comedy don't teach me to get up out the bed and go get it. Comedy does not teach me how to um stay in contact with people and network. That's the one thing I feel like, as one of the things that I should have been better at, or I can get better at, is networking. Your gift, people think that your gift automatically everything comes together with your gift, and that's not the case. There's things that you need to be able to do to make your business successful, that you can operate in your gift. Operating in your gift and um having basic knowledge of running a business is two different things. I could sing my heart out, right? I could be one of the baddest vocalists ever. But if I never want to get out the bed, I'm not eating right. I don't, I'm never in the studio. I'm lazy. My boyfriend broke up with me today, so I can't get to the studio. And my kids are acting up today. It got to be something inside of you that says, regardless. One thing about Monique Latisse, I've gotten on stage with a broken heart. I've gotten on stage in tears. I can be in one of the worst situations right now. And if you know me, you'll know, because the eyes never lie. Eyes never lie. but is something inside of me that that gravitates to my gift. And it's not the gift. It's not the gift. The gift is something that God has given me. I didn't ask for it. He's given me this. But then it's sometimes we're created, your habits, things that you've learned through living. I'm 51, so there's things that I picked up through living that can determine what happens to my gift. Come on, that's a whole word. That is a whole word. There's habits that some of us are not successful because we have bad life habits. We're dating the wrong people. We're around the wrong people. We're listening to the wrong people. One of the things you got to do also is you got to be able to set boundaries. I can't go to every event. I can't eat everything. Sometimes I do different shows and I'm greedy. I'm a big girl. I'm almost 300 pounds. But I can't eat everywhere. My stomach ain't built like that because I know I got to get up in the morning and I don't want to be sick. I don't want to be throwing up. So I got to watch my appetite. I got to watch my neck, my vocal cords. So this times I can't be out. If I'm not working or getting money, I don't like to be out at night because I don't like a lot of wind in my throat because this is my tool. This is my vessel. So you got to be willing to set boundaries. And I'm managing my own career right now. So I got to know what's best for my client. I got to know from my dressing. There's times that I wear stuff and I'm like, Monique, that don't look good. You can't wear that. Wear something else. And sometimes I'll spend all day just trying to figure out what my wardrobe is for the weekend. Why? Because my client must be presentable. My client is a big girl. She's shapely and she got to represent when she get on stage. So I'm thinking I'm operating as a comedian and I'm operating as a manager. So until I get someone to take over the management side, and here's the thing, I've had many people ask me, "Oh, I manage you. I manage you." If you can't take my career from what I've already done to the next level, I can manage myself because I'm always going to make sure that I'm on time. I'm an hour early at every event. I'm always, but what I've learned though, I'm gonna tell you what I've learned in this season, that it's okay to let people help me. That's a big one. It's okay to let people help me because when you get so used to doing things on your own, sometimes it's hard to let people come in and help you. And guess what? I don't have all the answers. I can't do everything. There's skills that I don't have. There's skills that I was not born with. So what my prayer is for God to connect me to people that have the skills that I don't have. That's a big deal. That's a big deal. So, yep.
Ladies and gentlemen, you're listening to greatness from Monique Latisse, and only here on Transformation Greatness, along with SBN, the Small Business Network podcast. This is episode 298, and I'm just checking down here, and you're getting a lot of engagement, Monique. A lot of people are definitely feeling exactly what you're saying. We have here from Latanya Davis saying "True for a Day." We have here Camille saying Monique is dropping gems for sure. Yeah, I'm basically just here, even though I'm the host, but I'm also I'm a fan. I'm just listening, and I'm just listening to the knowledge that's being presented. And she's 1,000% correct. So this is just awesome stuff. We have here Miss Gladys Moore Bryce in
Hey,
the
what's up?
building. Hey, hey, hey. She said, yes, it's important to take care of your health. And yes, accept that help from others. You can't do it alone.
Can't do it
Thousand
alone.
percent. Thousand
No.
percent. Monique, you mentioned something earlier, and I don't want to forget, but I know it had to deal with the youth. Can you expand on it again?
Okay, so I've always had a heart for young people because when I was coming up, like I said, I struggled academically. And because of those struggles, it was hard for people to see the gift. And a lot of times when you have children with disabilities or challenges, it don't matter if they can sing. It don't matter if they can dance. It don't matter if they can do poetry because you're so focused on what they can't do that you don't cultivate what they can do. So I wanted to work and mentor the children like myself. I consider myself to have been the underdog. I barely graduated high school, got left back a few times, and I shouldn't even be here today. And I got, to God be the glory. I was on my job 27 years before I left it, but that was only by the covering of the Lord, because I barely graduated high school. And when I started my job at the credit union, I was the only one out of all of my colleagues that were not college educated. So I said, there's other children in the city of Patterson like myself. So I wanted to meet those kids, and I wanted to let those kids know that even though you may have struggles in a certain area, your gift will carry you through your life if you cultivate it. And I wanted to play a role in kids finding their gift. Everybody can't sing, everybody can't dance. Who would have thought that a girl that have been told that she talks too much her whole life, that's all you saw on Monique's report card. Talk too much, talking excessive talking. Excessive talking, get to the back of the class. Even when I was working in the workforce, that's all they said. Who would have thought that God would have allowed the thing that was my weakness to be my strength? So I wanted to help kids find that. And I started a program in 2011 in the city of Patterson called Young Stars Rock. And because I wanted to let them know that you rock. I don't care what your background is. I don't care if you were raised without your mom, your dad, you're the only child like me. Whatever your circumstances are, you get all F's in school, you get whatever the circumstances are, you rock. So I started this mentorship program. So every year for 6 weeks, I mentor kids once a week for 6 weeks. I work with them on dance. I work with them on how to audition. I work with them on how to be a team player. Because sometimes when you have a gift, you don't know how to show support to other people. A lot of times when you're an entrepreneur, you don't know how to support other businesses. So I wanted to show the kids is the one way to get support is by being supportive. When other people are performing, you encourage them. You focus. And it sounds simple. People may say, well, that's simple. You'll be surprised, even at comedy shows. I've been to comedy shows and other comedians are in the back of the room doing this while you're performing, when they really should be focusing and watching the crowd and watching the room and being supportive. Most of my gigs that come is because I support other people. And because I support people, I love entrepreneurs and business owners. I mean, before me being a comedian, I'm a businesswoman. So I wanted to teach children how to identify their gifts, right? If somebody had told me years ago that you talking is a gift, it would have saved me so much headache. It would have saved me. I went through my whole life thinking something was wrong with me because I always loved to talk. Always love to ask questions. Who would have thought that we would be doing podcasts in 2024? Podcast wasn't thought of back then. I didn't think that I could possibly be on WBLS, WLIB because I love to talk. Yeah, there's a job for people like me kids like me to like to run their mouths. So I want to work with kids that don't have an opportunity to have these gifts brought to the forefront. So, and at the end of the 6 weeks, we do a big comedy show. I mean, a big talent show, and I give all of them a trophy. And one year, I even rented a limo for 20 children. I had the limo pick them all up, take them to the talent show, and drop them off. I stopped the show in 2015 because my son was serving 7 years in prison, and I became a prison mom. So God needed me to deal with that. God needed me to tap into the families that had incarcerated loved ones, because that's a whole nother beast. Making people laugh while you're a prison mom, while your son is in prison. That's a whole nother program. So God wanted me to spend time with that. But to God be the glory. I just got an assignment to revisit Young Stars Rock and present myself as a teacher of comedy and improv. So I'm going back to the basics, and I'm excited about it. Yeah.
Wow. You know what? That is truly, truly amazing. And you know what? I definitely see great things coming out of that. And I know it's going to be many people that's going to want to get in contact with you and find out as far as on how they can support you because that's really a beautiful thing. In which, by the way, Monique, how can others get a hold of you anyhow?
You can follow me on all platforms under Monique Latisse. I'm on TikTok, Instagram, and Facebook. My email address is Monique Latisse at Gmail. You can always email me. You can inbox me, and I'll give you my contact information. I'm very reachable. I respond quickly, and I would love to hear from you. Definitely.
Indeed. And just final question here because we've been on for about a half an hour and I appreciate you, and your time because I know you're just like me, you're very, very busy. What's next for Moni? What can we expect to see?
That's a great question. So right now, I'm in the process of putting my own tour together. Um, and I'm actually looking for sponsors for that because it needs money. Money, you need money to take yourself on the road. You need traveling expenses. Shout out to my barber that's going to give me 3 months of free haircuts during January and March while I do this little tour for myself because it's not going to
Sweet.
be easy. It's going to take a lot of finances. I'm an independent artist who totally jumped out on faith. I have no other income but my comedy income. So one of my desires is to be a nationally known comedian. And the only way I can really do that is to get out there myself and introduce myself to the masses. So I'm going to be booking shows around. So far, I got Las Vegas down. I got Orlando, Florida down. I got Delaware down. I got upstate New York down. So that's really what my goal is. I'm hoping that I can get a talent agent. I would love to do some commercials and continue my business with Monique Latisse Entertainment, teaching comedy and improv, and hopefully one day even going to the schools and having it be a curriculum and maybe even starting my own summer program where kids can spend the whole summer working on their gifts and goals. And that's my goal. So if any of you guys know how to write a grant, and I don't know anything about a grant, I don't even know where to start. So you got to be able to walk me all the way through because I don't know. That's not my forte. But if I get somebody that can write me a good grant so I can get the funding for some of these projects that I'm looking for, that would be a blessing.
Yeah, I can relate to you on that because the grants is a totally different terminology and I even tried myself. I got completely lost. I was like,
Yeah.
okay, yeah, I need to hire
And
one
there's
myself
people that
because
do that. There's people that
yeah,
do that. So so my prayer is to tap into people that do the things that I can't do. Do the things that I can't even fathom. In fact, I want to connect with a visionary that can see things that I can't see because we can only see, we
correct,
can only see what we see. You need
correct.
someone to say, I see what you're doing. I see what you're doing, and I can get you there. I can expand it. So, that's what I'm really praying on is God connecting me with people that can take my vision and enhance my vision and help me move the vision along.
Amen. Because of the fact that you have spoken those words, I do believe that things is moving even as we speak because I'm a firm believer in that and I am a witness to that. So I already know it's going to happen, Monique, no doubt
Yes.
about it.
Amen.
I know that you're not familiar as far as with my shows, but normally in the last segment, I like to do something which is called devil's advocate. And allow me to explain what I mean. There's going to be a part in this in which a lot of people, especially with the replays or later on down the line, obviously, they're going to watch this. They're going to be inspired. They're going to be like, wow, Monique is doing her thing. You know, for various reasons, they're going to like you. They're going to gravitate towards you and they're going to love as far as what you're doing. And you're going to inspire a lot of people, especially women.
Mm.
But me and you both know. We've been on this planet. You've been on this planet 50, 51 years. I've been on here for about 46, going on 47. We know there's going to be those haters. We ain't worried about those haters. But then it's that person that's watching us at home and they're sitting there and they're processing this information and they're saying that, man, that sounds so good. But you know what, though? I don't know if I can do what Shawn is doing, man. I mean, Shawn is doing so much. He's adding so much value. I really don't know. And Monique is like, man, she got it going on. She's got a business. She's out there inspiring and making people laugh. And like, I would love to do something like that, but man, I got kids, I got bills, I got car note, I got this, I got that.
Mhm.
And they come to you, Monique, with a million and one excuses,
Mhm.
well, reasons, and you can tell in their voice or in person, it's more like a spirit of defeat.
Mhm.
I'm gonna put you back on solo camera, and I would like for you, if you will, for at least 5 minutes. I want you to talk to that individual, either man or woman or child. What would you say to him or her that's coming to
Mm.
you with that type of energy? And so the stage is yours. Take it away.
Okay. So I would say to the person that feels like following their dream is impossible, I would say to the person that's following their dreams that want to give up because it's difficult. It is difficult. Everything in life is difficult. Sometimes even people getting out the bed and just facing the day is difficult. But there's always going to be something that stands in the way of you pursuing your dreams and your goal. And instead of looking at it like it's holding me back, it's not time, I can't never do it. People think I'm crazy because I want to put myself on a tour. It's always going to be something. But if I don't find my own motivation, I got to be my own motivation. Sometimes you can't tell everybody what you want to do. Sometimes you can't share what you want to do because people are going to respond to you with their limits. Like I told someone, yeah, I want to go on a tour. A tour? Why would you want to do that? Why don't you wait for somebody to put you on their tour? Why would I wait? Why should I wait? If God wakes me up every morning and he puts a desire inside of me, he's going to complete that assignment. And we got to trust that. We got to trust if God gives you the vision, if he says to you, you're going to be an author of 10 books, you're going to be the governor of New Jersey, you're going to open up your own restaurant, you're going to start your own eyelash business, you're going to go back to school. If God plants these seeds inside of you, he's going to complete the assignment. He's going to finish the job. So I can't worry about how it's going to get done, when it's going to get done. I got to just show up willing and ready to do what I need to do. And that's important. It's not even important. It's not even that important as to getting there. It's how you wait. A lot of people think that praying for something means that you just sit back and you just wait for God. Prayer without works is dead. So I believe in, while we're praying, while we're asking God to open up these doors, while I'm asking God to make me a nationally known comedian, I'm doing the work. I'm online every day. I'm emailing every day. I'm building my skills that may be weak. I'm not great with networking, so I'm trying to build my networking skills. And people think that talking is networking. Talking is not networking. Sometimes you could talk yourself out of a deal. Sometimes we talk too much that we miss a deal. So there's a technique. There's a technique to networking. So I'm asking God to help me sharpen these skills so that when he completes his assignment, when everything is said and done, I did everything I was supposed to do. So I would say to that person, keep on going. Even on the days you don't feel like getting up, keep going. Keep going, keep pushing. We work hard for other people. We go to work and we work hard for other people. That same energy, That same motivation. Sometimes there is no husband to motivate us. Sometimes there is no wife to motivate us. Sometimes there is no children to motivate us. Sometimes your kids don't believe in you. Sometimes your family don't believe in you. Oh, you're doing that little podcast, you're doing that little show, you're doing this, you're doing that. They don't even believe in you. But you got to be the one that speaks to yourself in the midnight hour and say to yourself, you can be anything that you desire to be. I'm sorry that noise in the back. That's my neighbor's dog. But you just gotta talk. I talk to myself all the time. I write to myself. I journal. And if nobody believes in Monique Latisse, I believe in Monique Latisse. And I owe it to the little girl inside of me. I owe it to the little girl, the 5-year-old little Monique Latisse. I owe it to her to remind her, you will make it. You will be successful despite your grades. There is a lane for you. There is a purpose for you. Okay, there's someone that needs your business. There's someone that needs what you bring to the table. Even if you're looking for a husband and you have trouble dating, if you're looking for a wife, there's someone that needs exactly what you bring to the table. And I'm trusting in God with that, with my business, with my life, with my children. I'm trusting that everything I'm bringing to the table, there's a seat waiting for me. There's a plate set up for me. And God is going to serve me. He's going to fill me. He's going to fill my cup. But the important thing is that I'm willing to come to the table. You got to be willing to get up. You got to be willing to show up. Sometimes you got to trick yourself. Sometimes I feel like I'm delusional. You're going to go on tour, honey. You are a nationally known comedian. You are a well-known comedian. I tell myself this every morning when I wake up in the morning. And what I've learned to do, because sometimes we be so afraid of success that there was a time in the season of my life that I didn't even want people to say congratulations to me, because social media can make you look like you're doing big things, right? We post different things and it looks like, oh, she killing it. She doing all of these different shows. It looks great. And then as soon as somebody say congratulations to me, I'm like, for what? I'm not where I want to be. Don't congratulate me. And I had to stop that. So now when people say congratulations to Monique Latisse, I say thank you, because I know what God is getting ready to do. I say thank you. I know what God is getting ready. I used to cringe when people would say, I'm proud of you. I used to be like, for what? For what? But now I say thank you, because I know what God is getting ready to do. So we can't wait for God to do it. We can't wait for God to do it, because, okay, so what if I'm angry and I'm bitter now, right? I'm angry and I'm bitter now. And then God finally blessed. Now I got to change my energy to be thankful. It don't work like that. I want to be thankful in this season, in this space, so that baby, when it pop off, when I become a nationally known comedian, when I start traveling the world, I'm already in the space of gratitude. I'm already in the space where I'm giving God the glory. I'm already in the space where Lord God loves me enough that He granted me the desires of my heart. See, I can go on and on about it. You don't want me up here preaching. It's how you wait. So be grateful of the little things. Be mindful of the little things. Be joyful of the little things. We can't depend on other people. You're it. Tag, you're it. It's you. It's up to you. You are your cheerleader. You are it. So tap into the little child inside of you and bless her, bless him, and love on that child so they can grow up and oh God, thank you. I'm done. I'm done. Thank you. I'm done.
You know, Monique, I was just sitting here just listening, and I'm so glad that you said exactly what you said. You know, it's one thing when you're trying to pour life into someone and the person hears you, but then again, it's one area and not the other.
Mm-hmm.
But it's always a joy, man, to hear from someone else that echoes the same thing. And it's a beautiful thing because we're in alignment in that aspect. You said a lot of great things, and my hope is that the right people truly resonates with this. But more importantly than that, guys, if you know me, you've been following for quite some time. I'm all about inspired action because I realized in my journey, inspired action moves the needle.
Mm,
When
mm,
you do so, just like on what you mentioned, by doing the work, right? You prayed on it, right? God is already moving. He's moving
mm.
things. He's making things happen. But what are
Amen.
you saying to yourself on a daily basis? I
Yeah.
love that you affirm
Yeah.
that first thing in the morning because I do that as well. So that's why
Yes.
when I was listening, I was like, I do the
Mm,
exact same thing. You daggone right. You better speak into existence and you better believe it all the way down to your soul and to your spirit. Because
yeah.
guess what? If you don't believe it, how do you expect me or Monique or anyone else to even believe you?
Absolutely.
You're
Absolutely.
you're being you're being incongruent. So, guys, I don't have nothing else really to say. Monique done gave you gold after gold after gold after gold after gold. And do me a favor.
Yes.
Follow Monique on her social media handles.
Please
Get
do.
in contact with her. Connect with her. Let her know as far as
Yes.
if
Yes.
this truly resonated with you. Find out on what she's doing. Get in the rooms. Get in the rooms of people that you are seeing are doing things at such a level. And instead of just being, envious, get into the room, pick her brain, right? Find out as far as on how you can support her. Collaboration beats competition, right?
Absolutely.
And if you really want to
Absolutely.
be successful in this entrepreneur space, it's the power of
Absolutely.
relationships. Les Brown has said it for years. It is an absolute fact, and I stand by that. So great
Yes.
show, by the way. Monique,
Yes. I enjoyed it.
do you have any lasting words for your fan base, for your audience?
I want to say that I will be at Jersey Gardens Movie Theater next Thursday, September 19th. I will be featuring for Tony Roberts. So if you are in the New Jersey area and you want to see a great show, please come and see me next Thursday, Jersey Gardens Mall, 8 p.m. You have Monique Latisse. You have Chanel Renee from Philly. You have Brady G from New Jersey, Mike Ross from New Jersey. And the show is going to be hosted by the one and only King of New York Talent. And please, if you guys are available, I would love to see you out, Jersey. You know, I am doing what I'm doing because of the support of my state, and I appreciate you all so much.
There it is. There it is. And on that note, this comes to a close. This has been another powerful episode from Transformation Greatness along with SBN, the Small Business Network podcast. This has been episode 298, and Monique Latisse has brought the house down. I'm just seeing here the comments is going like crazy, and I know it's going to be a whole lot more as far as with the replay as well. So with that, family, we're going to end this segment like we do all by others here. And if what we stated either motivated, transformed, or inspired at least one person, at least one person, then may God be the glory, and we take no credit for absolutely none of it. Until then, you're all amazing. Thank you for hanging out with us on this Tuesday evening. By His grace and mercy, look forward to seeing you all on the next episode.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you
you,
so much,
Camille.
everyone.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
Right, right on.